In today's episode of Plugin vs Hardware, we'll be taking a look at the GML 8200 EQ, and we will be comparing it to the latest plugin of my friends over at Pulsar, the Pulsar 8200. The GML 8200 is a super clean parametric EQ, and if I have to believe the manual, George Massenburg is the man who invented and coined the term parametric equalization. The 8200 has been an industry standard for almost 40 years and can be found on virtually every major recording studio stereo bus. Before I talk more about the specs and the features of the GML 8200, let's kick this video off with the first comparison file, because attention spans and all of you just want to hear what the difference is anyway, so let's dive right in. This shootout will be a blind test of which I will not be revealing results until later in this video, so if you want to know which is the plugin and which is the hardware, you better stay tuned. The first file that I'm gonna run through the GML 8200 behind me and the Pulsar 8200 is the latest release of Elle Hollis. It's a track called Child's Play, and of course it was mixed by me. You'll be listening to the final mix I have sent off to mastering, so there will be no limiting going on the master bus. On the screen you will see the letter A or the letter B, and at the end of the video I will reveal which is the plugin and which is the hardware. So let's take a look at the hardware GML 8200. As you can see, we've got 5 bands. There's 2 lows, a mid, and 2 highs, which is a bit unusual because normally you'd see a low, low mid, mid, and a high EQ. But not here, because they actually have the same exact frequencies to choose from on the 2 lows. The only difference is that when you set the Q curve on the first one all the way to the left, it now functions as a shelf instead of a bell. The frequencies on the midband range from 120 Hz all the way up to 8 kHz again. Then we've got the same design feature with the high EQs. We've got 2 high EQs which range from 400 Hz all the way to 26 kHz, and if you set the Q factor on the last band all the way to the left, it becomes a shelf again. You can boost and attenuate by 15 dB. So that's quite powerful, and that is about it. Yeah, you've got 2 bypass switches over here, so you can individually bypass one of the channels, or you can do 2 at the same time. Right, that is it for the hardware GML 8200. Let's take a look at the plugin in a sec, but before we do that, let's have a listen to another A-B comparison. This time it's a track that you might know from the Neve 1073 episode of Plugin vs Hardware. If you haven't seen that, look at the pop-up thingy up there. It is called Steady Ease by Koba Brown and Ginton. So let's have a listen to the difference between the hardware and the plugin.
Forward with a vibe, turn it up, I see it. Seeing together, hold it down, culture, do you feel this? Oh, forward with a vibe, turn it up, I see it. With a slip to my drip, I then it's out Capone. Said already been there down that road. Did you notice? A couple laps to take, you can owe this. On a 9 to 5 to control this now.
Alright, then let's have a look at the plugin by Pulsar. As you can see, the knobs are the same colors, the same gain, Q curve, and frequency select. The only difference there is that the faceplate is white instead of black on the hardware unit, but that part is pretty much the same. What's not the same is everything here in the middle and down below, so let's have a look at that. You can independently turn on and off the left and the right side. You have a headphone thingy here. What's that? In MS, listen only to the mids. Okay, so you can listen to the mids, and there's the sides. You've got gain controls, so you can actually properly gain stage the plugin, which you cannot do on the hardware. So if you boost on the hardware, it's always going to be nicer because it's always going to be louder. It's also got an auto gain function for those of you who don't know what gain staging actually is. So it can do it for you. You boost and the Pulsar takes down the output by itself. There's another thing that is definitely not on the hardware, and that is a built-in de-esser. So we can choose a frequency. It shows you actually what it does. Okay, and then the amount, and that's just the amount of de-essing. And then you can switch this detector circuit between a high pass and a band pass filter. There's a mid-side switch, so the left becomes the mid channel and the right becomes the side channel. And then there is left and right link, which should be on by default. Then a really great feature on the plugin that's definitely not on the hardware GML 8200 is the gain scale knob. So you can dial in the EQ, for example, and maybe you've overdone it, 12 dB, 9 dB, whatever. You're like, okay, it's cool, but it might be too much. So you dial down the gain scale and it just dials down all the bands. And you can just dial in the sweet spot. So you don't have to do it on the individual gain knobs. You can just dial down the gain scale, see like, okay, 50%, that's perfect. You leave it, you're done. Okay, and then underneath the actual EQ parameters, you've got 5 more knobs, which are pretty interesting because you get a high pass filter, that's not on the hardware. You get a low pass filter, that's not on the hardware. You get a sub, so you actually get an extra low shelf. And it looks like it's doing some kind of Pultec style low shelving, as you can see. So it's boosting the subs and then dipping the mids. And they've got the same type of things in the high end with the air knob. So you can see that when I push up the air knob, it boosts all the high end at around 10K and above, and then around 3K it creates a dip. And then the last knob here in the middle is a tilt. So you can adjust it to be a tilt EQ. Oh, you're still here after all of that? Wow, you must really like these videos. Let's do another comparison. Let's do Koba Brown's vocals and see how the GML 8200 and the Pulsar 8200 handle those vocals. And let's crank up the high end just for comparison's sake so we can see what the difference is.
Steady ease and settle slow. Steady ease and settle slow. Baby, this is real life, no metronome. Baby, this is life, no metronome. Steady ease and settle slow. Steady ease and settle slow. Baby, this is real life, no metronome. Baby, this is life, no metronome.
Okay, we're almost at the point at which I'll be revealing which is the plugin and which is the hardware. But before we get there, if you want to see how I mixed both of these tracks, make sure you head over to my exclusive content series to watch in-depth mix breakdowns on these tracks and many others. So the link will be down in the description below, and be quick because there is currently still a 35% discount running. And then for the moment supreme, the reveal of which is the plugin and which is the hardware GML 8200. For those of you that cannot wait any longer, the answer is finally not here because it's going to be in next week's video. No, don't click away, don't click away. The answer, I will give you the answer now. The hardware GML 8200 was B. So A was Pulsar, B was the GML 8200 hardware unit. Let me know down in the comments if you had it right or you're buying the plugin already. I hope you liked this video. Please let me know down in the comments which hardware units I should compare to which plugins, and I will try to get my hands on those. For now, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Later!